I wonder how much of this will be live. And we're live, and we are live, so that would make sense now. Huh? All right. So, what is up? What is up? Everybody watching the replay, you could probably see this part. It's not saying I'm live actually on the platform yet. So, we're just sitting there. Now we are. Oh, this is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. I'm super excited tonight. I have one of my favorite beings on here. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it up too early, even though I think the name's in the damn title. But pretend like you didn't see it and talk to me about it. All right. This person, all heart, man, she cares. She pours into her people. She loves on people. She supports people. One of the dopest souls. Her understanding of how to act and treat and work with people is inspiring. It makes me want to be better and do better. And I have some amazing stories about this person. And they don't want me to tell you any of them, right? Because they know me, and they know when I say that, what kind of stories I mean. They had one of the most amazing and impactful events I've ever been to in North Carolina, one of my favorite states. It's called Unbound. I was not invited to be a speaker, but it might change this year, this coming one. The event changed my life, so I will forever be grateful and thankful to come across this person. Their story is so crazy that I feel like if I tried to tell you some of it, I won't do it service, right? I won't do it justice. And to think they went through all this and they are still this type of person that cares so much, has such a big heart, really tells me that I can be better and do better. And it's a great balancing act between my heathen, degenerate self and her like amazing spirit, huge heart self. It equals out. Like our scale evens out because of it. So without any further ado, I would like to bring out the person of tonight, right? I would say queen of tonight, but it's even bigger than that. My girl, Martha. We're going to welcome Martha to the stage. What's up, Martha? Nice shirt.
Representing Unleash You now. Wow. What an introduction. I'm like sitting here almost crying. And then I'm like, I got like, okay. Whew. Thank you, Michael. You are such an inspiration to me. And thank you for sharing this platform.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, fam. Well, I've had the lucky pleasure of getting to know you for years, right? And I won't ever forget that the first time you ever talked to me said the only reason you're here is because of my mom. Right? I won't forget that. And then your sister, who I still don't believe is related to you because you guys are extremely different, said, rubbed in my face that North Carolina lost. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I like either of them. Right. And now I absolutely love you. Yeah, I love you guys. All right. So rough beginnings to great part of the journey. But before, I don't want to ruin it. I want you to kind of tell people like who you are, how you got here, kind of thing, a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll do that. So, like Michael said, I'm Martha Glory Kartaoui, and I'm going to take you like back and tell you where it all started, and then we'll gain some traction to what we're doing now and why it's so important to me. So I was born and raised in a religious cult, and I was there the first 26 years of my life. And I know that cult word is a word that pops up a lot nowadays, but when I got out almost 21 years ago, actually next week is my 21st anniversary of my escape from the cult. Nobody was talking about cults. There were no Hulu or Netflix series or any of those things about cults. And so nobody knew what a cult was. And so when I said I was in a cult, people were like, what? That doesn't, yeah. So I was in a religious cult, which means that everything was controlled with fear, a fear-based doctrine. And it was isolated. It was brainwashing. It was control. Every part of our lives within this group and this confined was controlled. During that first 26 years of my life, I experienced unimaginable physical violence and abuse, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, you name it. I went through those experiences that first 26 years of my life. And when I finally gained the courage to leave the cult, I had to escape because I had been held in the compound against my will for 8 years. And I couldn't just leave freely. So I had to escape. And my escape was, if you want to know more about the details of my escape, I have a book. It's called Glory Going All In. I wrote my story. You can check that out on Amazon. But the story, since we're doing an Acorn version tonight, was divinely planned, and a guardian angel showed up and helped me to escape during a winter blizzard. That unfortunately wasn't the hardest thing that ended up happening in my life, because that just led to a new hardship, a new challenge, new obstacles, because I was unprepared to enter into this world that I knew nothing about. I was naive. I had no self-confidence, no self-awareness, no self-love. I didn't have an identity. I did not know who I was. My whole life, I'd been told who I was. My whole life, I had been told what I wasn't. I had never been asked if I liked pizza or anything. Like, I didn't know what I liked whatsoever. I didn't have an identity. So I enter this big, crazy world that I know nothing about, have no tools of navigating. And well, as you can imagine, my life spun out of control. And so the next few years were really dark. And as I started learning how to navigate and learning how to stand on my own 2 feet, which took a lot of falling down, smacking my face, School of Hard Knocks. I have a master's degree and then a PhD on top of that, and then 4 or 5 doctorates of the School of Hard Knocks, because I had to learn everything the hard way. I didn't have an easy navigating into this new world that I knew nothing about. Are you interrupting, or you just want me to keep rolling? Okay.
You think? I'll never interrupt.
Okay.
I'll sit here all night.
Thank you. So my life came crashing down about 6 years after leaving the cult. And hey, Myrna, so good to see you. And so my whole life started crashing down, and my physical body started falling apart. I was married. I was causing chaos in my marriage because I didn't know how to be safe. I didn't know how to be free. I didn't know how to navigate. And so everywhere I went, I was creating the same things that had happened to me within the cult. And so eventually it all came to a head where I had to make a decision. Do I want to continue to live my life in this state of fight or flight and chaos and pain and hurt and feeling abandoned, unloved, all of those things that I had gathered from the cult? Do I want to continue to carry those identities, or do I want to figure out how to take my life back? And what that moment of making the decision to take my life back came in a continuing education class where I was in a somatics class, and the teacher said, did you know that trauma is stored on a cellular level in your body? And that was like this moment of like, holy crap, this is what's wrong with me. Because I was experiencing extreme migraines, back pain, neck pain, fibromyalgia, gastrointestinal issues. Like my body was literally breaking down, and I was 30 some years old, early 30s. And my body was breaking down because I had so much stored trauma that I had built all these walls up, and I had thought I had left it in the past. But unfortunately, you can't leave something in the past. And there's no pill to fix your past. There's no pill to heal your trauma. And so I had to face it. And that moment of hearing that in that class was like, okay, I've got to take my life back. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm worth it. And I've got to decide and make that decision. And so I started seeking out my own holistic healings, and I started doing research, and I started reading, and I started going and doing naturopathic modalities. And it was this experience that opened my mind, opened my heart, opened up my body of like, there's hope. I don't have to live this way forever. Like there's something else that I can do to feel better, to stop creating this cycle of all of the trauma that I had experienced in those early years. And so over this last 14 and a half years, I have dedicated myself to my own healing journey, which has now led to the things that I get to do today.
That's awesome. Also, look at all the love you're getting already. Myrna came in, Becca came in, Justin came in, Mike came in. I like that everybody was like, hey, you guys, or hey, or hey, y'all. And Hudson was like, hey, Martha. All right, bro. Love you too. All right. Like, look at me.
Hi.
The first time I heard your story, I was floored because it's one I've never heard. Right? Like I hear a lot of stories. We have a lot of speakers touch our stages. I've never heard a story like yours. Right. And then I was like even more floored because I'm like, she went through this crazy shit. And she's like one of the nicest people. Right. Like, and I'm like, I didn't go, I was in no Colt. Like no one kept me. Right. Someone said I run a Colt, but you told them I didn't. So thank you. Right. But the Roxy says, what's up? I got you with the first one when I did Myrna the first time, but then I didn't get you with any of the other ones. I was impressed. But I didn't go through nothing like that. And I'm still more like a sarcastic dick, 90% of the time. I'm a smartass, which is better than being a dumbass, but still either way is an ass. Right. I just thought of that off the top of my head, but I'm going to coin it. It's going to be mine. But to see you show up the way you do, right, it's like, just like, wow. Like, if that doesn't inspire us, so we can be better. Right. But you said something that I think we need to dive into a little bit because it sounds easy, but it's extremely difficult. And you said about facing you. Right. That has been some of the hardest shit I had to do.
Yeah.
All right. We're about to get like G rated here. We're about to get like squish rating. So someone's going to report me for saying that word, just so you know. But it's okay. We'll fight back. That's what we do every time. At least I do every time because I curse an awful lot. But like I didn't understand that battle and that all that comes with it. Right? And it sounds great, but there's some real dirty, crappy parts to it. So when you say that, like, what is that like? What does that mean? What does that journey look like at times to really make the listener understand if they're feeling this and just know, like, going through this, it's not going to be all rainbows and sunshines all the time.
The healing journey is a process, and facing yourself, like you said, was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. Even though the unfortunate events that had happened in my life were not my fault, and I understood that, I still carried all of the identities that those unfortunate events had left on me. I carried those labels. I carried the label of unloved. I carried the label of abandoned. I carried the label of fat. I carried the label of unintelligent. I carried the label of lazy. All of these labels I had taken on as personal identities. So when you have to look at yourself in the mirror and the only thing that you see looking back at you are all of those identities, and you can't see a single positive thing looking back at you, that's scary. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. And unfortunately, there is no way to heal without facing the darkest parts of who you've become. And so I was responsible for the person that I'd become because there's nobody coming to save me. There's nobody coming to heal me. I am responsible for me. I'm responsible to do the work, and I have to face those demons. I had to face the darkness all over again. And I remember when I first started the journey, I was like, I'm willing to heal, but I don't want to go back and talk about all the stuff. I don't want to uncover all the yuck. I don't want to talk about being molested. I don't want to talk about being raped. I don't want to talk about being starved or beaten and bones broken without medical attention. I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. Like, I want to leave that in the past. And I remember sitting with a biofeedback provider, and she said, Martha, what we don't bring to the light continues to fester in the darkness. And so if we don't talk about those things, you cannot heal from them. You cannot heal what you do not bring the light to. And that has stuck with me all of these years. And so slowly we had to build my confidence. I had to build my confidence because I had to do all the work. There was no magic pill. There was no magic modality that suddenly I was like, okay, I have confidence. I can talk about all this hard stuff. No, like, I had to build up to it. I had to create new identities to replace all of the identities that I had taken on from all of the unfortunate experiences that I had had growing up. But facing yourself is one of the scariest, most uncomfortable things that you will ever do. And no, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's yuck. It's scary. It's really not fun, but you cannot move through what you don't address. You can't unbecome or become something different what you don't address, what you don't talk about, what you don't feel, right? For Unbound, you mentioned my event Unbound, my trauma healing event. Our slogan this year was feel, release, heal, because if you don't feel it, you cannot release it, and therefore you cannot heal it, right? And so it is a process that I had to be very patient with myself through. But y'all, when I tell you, on the other side of that, there's so much joy, there's so much peace, there's so much community, there's so much love. And so the person that's sitting in front of you, I want you to know, like, this is new. This is new within the last 3 years of having this confidence and understanding and owning who I am and loving the reflection that I see when I look in the mirror. This is within the last few years, because I now know her. I now look in the mirror and I say, that's Martha Glory, and she is a badass. And she loves herself. She loves people. She wants the best for others. She meets people where they're at. She knows their pain. She resonates because she's been there. There is very, very few people that I meet that I cannot resonate with part of their story or all of their story, because of all the crap that I've had to go through. And I want to make sure that it's understood. My trauma didn't stop in the cult. As we life be lifing, right? And we be raw dogging it out here, it's really, really tough. And so I've had to go through divorce. I've had to go through financial issues. I've had to go through a miscarriage. I've had to go through relational issues. I've had to go through family drama. I've had to go through addiction with my siblings. I've had to go through so many other hard things that life has brought my way, that I was challenged by, that I had to overcome, that I had to, that I had to also heal through. So my trauma didn't stop in the cult and then suddenly it was smooth sailing. No, life is going to continue to life. And you have to continue to show up. The difference now is that because I have tools, because I know the things that work for me, I can get back up much more quickly, and I don't lose myself to the situation. Instead, I can quickly get back on track by using the things that I've learned, by using and not taking on things that aren't mine, right? I can care versus having to carry other people. So that was a really long explanation, but.
So I love that last part too, where you said, I can care, I don't have to carry. Whew, that's a big one. I got to give a big shout out. James in the house, David V in the house, Matt in the house. What up, guys? What up? You said some things where I'm like, ooh, so good, right? But you said so many so good. I was like, okay, I can't ask 44 questions off this one. I have to go to one. So I want to take it back a little bit. You're in your journey. You understand you've been through some things. You need to face it to heal it. what is a step someone can do to start that process or get it rolling after you realize I'm willing to face it?
Yeah. Once you're willing to face it, the biggest thing is self-love. And when I talk about self-love or re-identifying with self, I talk about this a lot in my coaching. I talk about this a lot from stage. And I talk about this a lot in my book because it was the key to unlocking me. Again, let me say that. Like, the key to unlocking me was to realize that I was lovable, that I was worthy of my own love, not from an exterior source, not from somebody else, but from me. I was worthy of doing the work, and I was worthy of healing myself, but it had to start with me. So I had to do the hard work of figuring out how to love me. That's key. You will not heal if you do not love yourself enough to do the work to heal. So the first thing that you have to do is to start looking in the mirror and saying, how can I fall in love with you? What are the small things that I can see that you're worthy of your own love? So for me, it was really superficial things like, your eyebrows look really good today. I like your smile today, right? Like, your hair is doing well, right? I had to start with the superficial because I was too scared to go inward. And then when I started going deeper, I was like, you're really good to people. You have a big heart. You are selfless, almost to a fault, right? Like, I had to find things that I loved about me and that was worthy of my own love in order to start that healing process.
I love that. I love where you said, like, start simple, right? Like, you don't have to start with the complex. Start simple.
Yeah.
Right. For the people that are like questioning if they should do it, if it's worth it, right? Like, does it really make a difference? What would you say to those people, the ones that haven't even took a step or even looking in the direction?
The first thing that I would say is, are you content with who you are, where you're at, and what's going on in your life? And if no is the answer to any of those questions, the only way to turn that into a yes is to do the work, is to choose yourself, to understand that you are worthy of that healing. You're worthy of that discovery. And it really is a discovery. I talk about this all the time. Like, everything that we will ever need for our healing, God already put inside of us. We just have to tap into it. We have to rediscover it. We have to reclaim it. We have to practice it in order for it to become us. We don't pull these things out of thin air. You learn different techniques from different modalities, things like that, but everything you need for your own healing process is within you. And we talk about this a lot at Unbound. And thank you for mentioning, the event. And I'm so grateful to hear that it changed your life. That started as a thought of God putting this vision in my head of, like, it's time to start serving in a bigger way. More people need to understand they are worthy of their own healing. And so within a year, I put together this event. Amazing people came alongside of me and said, how can I support you? How can we make this amazing? And then I got to do this amazing event that you got to attend in September. And the things that we talked about in that event, and the reason why so many people had breakthroughs, had transformation moments, and had a testimony when they left that event, are because of the things that we're talking about now, right? So often we don't even know we're carrying trauma. We don't know that we're carrying lack of self-worth, or right? Because we're successful, right? If, like, to the outside world, we're successful, we're doing well, we have families, we have children, we have jobs, we have all these things, but we don't understand that we're limiting ourselves because we're scared of the healing process. And so the things that we talked about at Unbound, the uncovering, the rediscovery, the tools that we talked about, helped to tap into those things. And it was amazing what the outpouring of the the things that transformed, that shifted, that changed with so many individuals that were there. And spoiler alert, Michael Fabber is speaking at Unbound 2026.
Finally earned it, y'all. I won't tell you how much I paid. No, no, I'm kidding. She don't make me do that, but I'm excited because of the impact the event had on me already. To be able to no longer be poured into in your room, but to actually do some pouring. And I know you've already checked me multiple times on what I'll be talking about, and I'm sure will more, which is fine. I expect it. That hopefully I'll be able to give a little bit of what I received the first time. But the way you sought after the speakers you knew that would flow to create the opportunity for transformation, because we have events, so I know a little bit about events, right? Just a little bit. And I know you can't make someone transform. All you can do is give the space and the opportunity for someone to transform. And for me, you guys did that at your event.
Thank you.
And I will say that if you do that for a hard-headed heathen like me, I think anyone that goes will have that experience and plus some.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for saying that. The container is so important, right? Like that's what you're talking about, is creating that sacred space, creating that trust tree, whatever it is that you want to call it. Like you have to be fully aware of the container that you're creating. And for me, the container was so important, and it was the way that everything came together, and the way the time and energy that all of us put into creating that experience. You'll never get your first again. That was my first, and I'm so proud of how it rolled out. And I'll never also forget that as I was leaving the venue on Sunday, on the last day, as everybody is leaving and I'm closing up the doors, like God literally spoke to my heart and said, all right, you've got the first one down, but next year is bigger, better, and bigger. I'm tongue tied because my brain is
Great.
Bolder. Yes. Bigger, better, and bolder. Bigger, better, and bolder. And so that when I heard that, and I was like, okay, I'm answering the call, because I learned so many lessons about my own confidence as I built this last event. Because so often, regardless of how much healing you've done and how much you still feel ill-equipped, right? Because you're like, God, really? I'm going to go and open up a space of this for how many people? Like, what am I, right? But what I learned through this building of this event, and thank you very much to you for holding my hand so much along the way, Michael, because I couldn't have done it without you. Like, you helped me so much with just understanding how to build a successful event. But also trusting in who God's called me to be. That was huge. And building that confidence and understanding what my role was, and understanding that God would equip me as I needed to be equipped, and he did. And what you got to experience was me finally surrendering and saying, okay, this is my vision. This is my mission. I'm going to surround myself with the people that can help me to elevate the message, the vision, and I'm just going to go all in. And so next year, 2026, August 21st through 23rd, I'm so excited to be doing this again in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm so excited that you will be part of it with us this year. So thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you. I always laugh because you're like, I don't know how it's going. And I was like, all right. I was like, I didn't really ask you these questions. I kind of stayed in my lane with you. I was like, how many people you got going? You're like, as of now, 40 plus. I'm like, at your first event, it's like we had 5, right? Like, that's not even true. The first event we ever did was a retreat. We had 0. The next time, I forgot that it was supposed to be that weekend. I talked about what a great time I had because we went go-karting. People were like, oh my God, I thought about going, but I really want to go this time. Right? Can I please go? And I was like, yeah, sure. We had 3. All right. And then we did a conference style event, and it was 5. Then we had 7. All right. It wasn't until like 5 in that we broke double digits. All right. So when you said the first time you had over 40 already, I was like, oh my God, like you're killing it. Like, way to go. Like, that's testimony to you too. Shelly Dodson said, what's up? She loves you. And me, of course. She said, this guy's all right. But she said she loves you. The power of an event, really, first of all, if anyone's watching this, we're in the second half of this. So if you have any questions you want asked, if you have any comments you want shared or talked about or thought through, please just put them in the comment section. If you do that, they come up on the side here for me and I can share them and we can talk about them. So if you have any questions, also if you think this is helpful at all, or if Martha is speaking some things that can change lives, which she is, then share this out to your people so they have the opportunity to reach out to Martha, which we'll talk about in this half about how to work with her, talk with her, and move forward in this process if that's something you're into. But what people don't know, they can't do. So help them know that this is available to them. So the power of events is insane to me. How that can absolutely change a life. There's connections I've made from events that I will forever hold dear. Right? There are changes that came from my life or my business from events that will forever change the trajectory of my life. And like, you were a nice person your whole life. I was a troublemaker most of my life, right? So if we can both end up here in the same room talking about how much we admire and inspire each other and the love we have for one another, I imagine anyone can do it, right? So definitely show up. Here's another one of our peeps, Jeff Purdue-Atkins in the house, and Martha's amazing. She is. All right, you got to know Martha. Now, so there's one thing to go through your healing journey, to be able to level yourself up, to be able to live the life you want or have the relationships you want, etc. There's a whole nother thing with jumping in the space of saying, I'll help others do it. All right, what made you take that leap?
So it was a gentle, not so gentle urging from God of like, all right, it's time to stop hiding in the shadows and it's time to own all that you've learned and all that I have created you to be. It's time to take back your voice. It's time to stop being silent. It's right. I lived in fear for so long that if I spoke out, that something would happen bad to my sister who's still in the cult, right? Like I lived in that fear because the cult had controlled, every thought, right? Like it's so no matter how much healing I did, and I thought about, how my story could help other people, I always stopped myself because of that fear of, well, if I go public, what happens to my sister? Will something bad happen to my sister? And then I'm going to blame myself. And eventually I ran out of excuses when God was like, okay, so you did all this healing for what? And I literally had that moment of, so what is the point of my healing if I don't use it to serve? And that was a huge like aha moment for me of like, okay, so, well, what does serving look like? How do I serve? How do I use the experiences that I've had and all of the healing that I've done? How do I serve? Right. And so the first thing that it led me to was to do a women's event for Unleash You Now. That's how I got introduced. It was the women's event where I fell in love with your mom and Margaret, and how I ended up meeting you. And then, the rest is history. But I find that was the first platform that I was like, okay, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share my heart, and I'm just going to see how it goes. I went in with no expectations. I was a nervous wreck, but it was where it was serendipitous, or, like divine, of that sacred space that was created for these women that I got to share with and for. And that like snowballed into all the other things that I've gotten to do, because there was something that shifted in me once I did it one time, because I had people coming up and saying, holy crap, you've got some resilience. Your courage, Martha, that's amazing. Like you can help so many people. I resonated with this part of your story because of this. And something shifted in me saying, okay, how can I keep this to myself? I have gone through everything that I've gone through. I've healed from those things. How can I keep this to myself? There's other people hurting. There's other people that can learn from my story. There's other people that will see themselves and will give them their selves permission to share if they hear me share, right? And so that became my strength. That became what motivated me to continue to share. And as I began sharing on more and more platforms, on podcasts, on TV shows, on stages, in my book, all of the things that I've done in the last 2.5 years, which is just like crazy to me when you and I sit down and talk about all the things I've done in the last 2.5 years. And it's like, holy crap, I've done all of that in the last 2.5 years. It's just been humbling to understand how much I've gotten to do and how many people I've gotten to help. And now creating my membership program with the collective, with trauma healing, a support group. It's so life-giving for me. And I'm humbled every single time that I get to show up for others and they get to see themselves through the lens that I see them through, because that gives them hope, that gives them courage, that gives them strength. And then they start to peel away the layers and understanding what they can be, what they want to be, and start reclaiming themselves, which is just transformative in itself.
Right. One of the things I like to talk about too is like, I never thought I would be an author. Right. Like I failed third grade. Like it wasn't like, dude, I failed third grade, I'm going to write some books. Right. Like that didn't happen. It was funny. I had a conversation today. Some guy was like, bro, if you ever want to write a book, I was like, well, okay, way to know. Right. Way to do any research. But he's like, if you ever want to write a book, just give an idea to ChatGPT and say, I want to write a book from this idea, this over this many words per chapter, over this many chapters, and you'll have a book. And I was like, oh, dude, I didn't need ChatGPT to write a shitty book. I did it myself. Right. Because mine, I would say I wrote the worst book ever written. That's my claim to fame. Everybody can argue about who's the best. I know what spot I got. Right. So, but I never thought I'd be that guy. I hated talking in front of the classroom in school or reading out of a book. You were at an event where I got in trouble because they were like, read this chapter. And I said, I don't have that book. All right. And they were like, the whole day you didn't say you didn't have the book? I was like, correct. Right. Like, because I didn't want to read out the book. Right. There's still things in my head about that. They're still already like subconsciously like, no, don't have me do that. Right. And I always tell people like, I didn't know I was supposed to do any of this. Right. Like I really like sports. I like playing them. I like watching them. Right. I thought when I got into sports talk radio, I thought that was going to be it. Like, this is my life. Like I made it and I'm cool. And it wasn't until I spoke in front of people that I was like, oh my God. Right. Like if I really care about others, this isn't what I want necessarily or what I think I want, but this is why I'm here. Yeah. Right. And what was it like for you coming out of the Colt, trying to like build your life, but then also understanding like you're going to have to stand in front of hundreds of people and speak, which I've known you've done multiple times. Right. Like I'm going to have to put pen to paper and put words down that will live forever. Right. That people are going to read, dissect, judge. Right. And I'm going to be willing to stand up front of that firing squad for whatever this is to make the impact it's supposed to make. For the people that are sitting here saying, I know there's more for me in this life, but haven't taken that step yet, what would you tell them?
What I would first say is that I second exactly what you said. This was never in my life plan. Like there was no life plan where I ever said Martha's going to be an author, a speaker, a mentor, a trauma coach, like that. None of those things were ever part of my life plan. But what I do know to be certain is that my soul's purpose is what I'm doing today. And when you surrender to your highest and best self, which is all the work that I've done over the last 14.5 years was surrendering to my highest self, then you become an expression of said highest self. And in order for me to be an expression of my highest and best self, I have to serve. And I can only serve from the things that I know most about, because nobody else can serve in the way that I can with this specific bag of tools and experiences because they haven't been through it. We all have unique gifts. We all have unique talents. And one of my unique gifts and talents is that I can resonate with pain on many different levels and many different calibers because I've had those experiences. But I also have gifts and talents of really being able to hold a sacred space. And that is a talent. That is not just something that anybody can do, to create that solidarity and that safety. Safety is so huge when it comes to trauma healing. You cannot just create an event and not understand the importance of safety. And so I understand those things because of my experience. And so therefore I work from my experiences to create and serve in the way that only I can. But when I do that, I help others to claim their own gifts and talents because I'm giving them permission to say, see, I did it. And like Michael, like I am dyslexic. I never thought in a million years I would write a book because I spell words forwards and backwards and like jumble words and letters, and like my brain doesn't work like everybody else's. But I wrote a book because I stopped limiting myself based on an identity that I was given at age 11 when I couldn't read, right? I stopped using that as an excuse. And I said, okay, so I'm dyslexic. That's a fact, right? But it's no longer going to be the identity that holds me back from my purpose. It's no longer going to be the identity that I claim and carry as like an award. No, I'm more than just dyslexic. I am smart. I'm compassionate. I'm empathetic. I'm amazing. I'm strong. I'm resilient. I'm so many more things than just dyslexic, right? And so when I removed that label, I was able to step into one more level of greatness of like, no, I'm claiming who I am. And so I wrote a book, and now I've written a second book, and I'm getting ready to put it out early next year. So there's when we stop limiting ourselves, our highest and best, our soul, whatever you want to call it, can breathe, can find its own light and go, okay, now I'm surrendering to that. Because I'm never going to allow myself to be put in a box of labels or identities or any of those things again, because I know what I can do. I can do anything that I want to do. If God gives me a vision, I promise you I will execute, because I've learned the hard way what it means to sit on a vision for many years and waste time. And I'm 46 years old. I don't have any more time to waste. I have a lot of life to live. I have a lot of people to impact. I have a lot of people that are looking up to me and saying, I want what you have. And that's humbling. That's really humbling. And I'm so grateful for any platform that I get to stand on, or I get to sit on, or I get to speak at, because I know that there's somebody that needs to hear my heart. Somebody needs to hear that there's hope. Somebody needs to hear that they're not alone. And that's what I get to do. And I'm very lucky and very fortunate to be able to do that. So thank you.
You're welcome. You know, we weren't getting this thing through this without some tears. You did a good job holding it back. I'm proud of you. What a 2 years has made. No, I love what you said. There's something that that really changed my existence on this earth, was when I learned the difference between labels and identity. Right? When I was young, I don't know if you don't know anything about my story, I'm not going to tell you it now, but I got in trouble quite often. I was good at it. I had a unique skill. It was getting in trouble. Right? And the first time I got in serious trouble, literally they looked at me and said, your life is over. Right? Like you're going to be in trouble for this. Like you're going to have a case against you. You're going to have a record against you. And you're going to have to do things for the state to make up for that. And your life is over as you know it, because now you're a criminal. Right? And I took that, when they said that, as that was my life now.
Your identity.
So, right. So it went from a label they were giving me, and I owned it, and that made it my identity. And then what happened after that was I thought my life was going to be nothing, and this is just going to be it. So I might as well just keep doing it and do it at a great level. right? Because this is all I got. So do it good, right? Be good or be good at it, right? So I messed up the be good part, so I had to be good at it, right? So for the majority of my life, when I was younger, that's all I thought. And it wasn't until I found out I was going to be a dad at 20, right, that I was like, there has to be a different way, right? And someone said to me, an old head, Bill Curry, one of my mentors, he said to me, he's like, just because they think it of you doesn't mean you got to prove it, right? And just because they say it doesn't mean you got to live it. Pick how you live. Yeah. All right. And he taught me the difference between labels and identities. A label is what other people say you are. An identity is what you own as you. Yeah. Right. And that was the time where I started stripping labels off of me and started saying, what's my identity though? Like, who am I? Right. And the glorious part of this, not to use glory, is that you get to pick your identity. Right. And I say this a lot. I say this a lot in the mastermind, the family that we're part of. Right. I say that I walk into a room and I'm like, where's my entrepreneurs at? And people be like, yeah. I'm like, bet that's their identity, man. They're celebrating that. Right. You see how many people have been singing your praise, calling you a powerhouse, a badass. Shelly's never said something nice about me in her entire existence of knowing me years. She said multiple nice things about you on this damn live. I'm like, Shelly, what's the deal?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
All right, it's just truth, but damn, Shelly. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna block her from this video. I'm done doing this second fiddle shit. No, but when you talk about labels and identities, how huge that is in our own journey is stop accepting labels as your identity and start creating and building your own. And that was one of the biggest transformations from what I heard about you, and very much aligned and synced into my life, was when I stopped being the dumbass that failed third grade. So I was dumb. Well, now I'm not dumb anymore. Right? And then it was, it's like when people say, don't be the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong rooms. And I'm like, what if you are the smartest one in the room and the dumbest one in the room? Yeah. What if? Yeah. Right? And it's like, because listen, Martha can teach me things about healing, about trauma, about cult life, right? That I will never, right, understand to the level in which she does. So if me and her are talking, she's the smartest one about those things. Right off the top of my head, I can think of those things for sure. Right? And then there's things, I don't know, what's it like to wear a backwards cap every day? All right, like that I am more knowledgeable than her, right? Because I do it every day. All right. So I'm very consistent and my commitment to it is top notch. Just saying. Right. But so then what if in every room you are the smartest person and the dumbest person, and you go in knowing there are things you can teach and there are things you can learn in every situation, in every room with every person. All right. Rather than worrying where we are in the hierarchy. Yeah. All right. Just understanding we're both on it.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. And you said something great, and I want you to dive into it a little bit for me before we start getting towards the tail end. Because you already told me the time that you were willing to go, and I already went over it because that's what I do. But you said you're done having things to prove. Right? One of the most powerful lines, and I say it often, is from someone you might have heard me quote before. His name is Nipsey Hussle. Right? And he said, before he passed, he said, I have nothing left to prove, but I have a whole lot left to do.
Yes.
Right? And that sounds small, but is extremely powerful. And dive into that a little bit for me.
So for me, I don't know Nipsey's story other than through you, because I was in a cult and I didn't know him, his music or anything, but that's my excuse for everything.
I got you.
Thank you. For me, it was the ownership of me, right? When I owned who I am and owned who I'm becoming, because I'm never going to be the same person today as I am going to be tomorrow, because I'm dedicated to my own personal growth journey for the rest of my life, right? And so owning who I am and where I'm going, and understanding that it's a journey, it's a process, and understanding that that power of choice to choose not to stay the same, for me, I believe that that's the biggest and most important thing that I can choose in order to make the impact that I want to make, right? I'm not willing to stay the same. I'm not willing to just stay status quo. I'm going to continue to invest in me so that I can invest in others. That's what the true meaning of service is for me, is invest in myself so I can continue to invest in others, which means I'll be able to continue to impact others. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, because I got lost on the Nipsey thing, but
I think it more than answered my question.
thank you.
All right. So I want to ask you this question. I'm going to switch the order in which I normally ask these a little bit for you, because you made me question how I asked them. Someone that's on their journey, if you had one line that they got to see, read, feel, right, go by. If you got one thing left to say to the people after you were gone, for them to remember only one thing, if you were to say it, what would you say to them?
Stop choosing to be alone. So loneliness is a choice. Being alone and keeping people at bay because you think nobody will understand you is a choice. And that was a really, really difficult lesson for me to learn in my life. And when I meet people that resonate with my story or get something from something they've seen about me, the first thing they always say is, I didn't know that anybody else would understand me. I have felt so alone, right? And what I came to understand is loneliness is a choice. Being alone is a choice because we feel safer, because if we open up, we'll be exposed, right? But the truth is, nothing heals in the darkness. You have to be willing to let the light in. You have to be willing to expose it in order to heal it. And so I just would say loneliness is a choice. Choose to let the light in.
I love that. Let the light in. Let your glory shine. This
is my TV show on Prosperity TV Network. Check it out on YouTube.
There you go. I like that you got that shameless plug. All right. So you have the book. You have another book coming out. We're on 22 days, my favorite number. You have so many different things. You have your community that people can join and be part of, so not alone through their healing journey. You have events, right? You speak at multiple events, right? If someone wanted to find you, see what you're about, connect with you more, how would you suggest they do that?
Follow me on social media, Martha Glory Kartaoui, for all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you know it. Also, my platform, the Unbound platform, which is my Unbound event, but also my trauma healing membership, which is the unboundcommunity.com. So unboundcommunity.com. Check that out. But just hit me up. I'm so I just love people. So I respond to my texts. I respond to, private message. Just hit me up. Let's have a conversation.
I like it. Hit me up. Beat me up, Scotty. All right. So the question I moved because I wanted to be your last one. Oh, by the way, also there's a great event Unbound. It's in August in North Carolina. I'll be at it. I think you heard about that. So definitely join us because I'll be there. And you know what that means? Shenanigans at its finest. So also a lot of healing, great room, transformation. I'm not talking about the room. I'm just talking about me. I have to make it about me at some point. So you live your life, you make the impact you make. All right. How do you want them to remember you?
Legacy is really, really important. And I have a lot of really good people around me that have taught me a lot and that I look up to. And so when I think about legacy, I always think about the same thing. And that is that when people talk about me, I want them to always say, she left us better than she found us.
Mm.
And that's what I want to be remembered about.
Why do you get quiet there?
Cheers.
Leave it to Smyrna.
She needed to get her shout out. What can I say?
I don't know if she said cheers or tears, but it
Both.
sounded the same. Yeah, sounded, and either one is believable from her. So that's why I was like, dang, confused. All right. Now,
she's taking shots for me, so it's cool.
I'm jealous. Is it Jack? No. The sucks then. No, I'm good. All right, you get to ask one question of the people listening and myself. You get to ask one question. I get to answer in the comment section. I get to answer live. What's the one question you asking?
The one question I'm going to ask is,
You like how I give you no prep for this?
I know, I love it. What are you choosing differently on your healing journey in 2026?
Yeah, audience, what are you choosing differently on your healing journey in 2026? What are you choosing differently? I like that question. Very makes you think. I don't like it. No, okay. Right.
You can just say, I choose to go to Unbound 2026, April 21st to the 23rd.
100%. I do that too. But also, I'm going to choose. Damn, Myrna just stole my shit. I'm going to choose to lean in. Yeah. So to community, to people I love, family, etc. I'm going to choose to lean in. One of the big things that I had to be reminded of for the last year and a couple months is that you don't have to carry the weight. All right, like everyone can carry a piece. That's the point of a village. That's the point of a tribe. Right, but you got to be willing.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
You can care, but you cannot carry.
Right. So yeah, what she said. Because you said it nicer. But so I think I'm going to lean in this year. Answers from the crowd that I got so far. Not to be alone. I don't know. That means a lot.
Yes.
Right. Ooh. There's one to speak out more and often.
Shelly. Yes, Shelly. Yes. Come on, girlfriend.
Yes. Yes, Shelly. Yes. All right. The sound nothing like you, but I tried. All right, my boy. I was proud of this one. Pay attention to myself more often to keep myself in check. I like that.
Yes, Michael Hudson. You should be at Unbound next year.
I know. I'm going to drag him there with me. As soon as you said I'm speaking, I got to bring someone there to see me so I could flex on him.
So proud of you, Mike.
All right. I said I choose shenanigans. That's my people. That's my people. We choose shenanigans.
Unleash.
All right. We're unleashed and we're unbound. Hey, remember one of the first shirts ever made?
Yes, at my heart, man. My heart.
Unbound is unleashed.
So if you don't know the story, he showed up at my event with he made this special shirt just for my event because he's always repping his Unleash You. And so he put Unbound on the same. It was amazing. It was just my heart. Thank you.
Of course. We're in this together, fam. All right. And then James, my man, what up? He said, consistency over urgency. I'm putting daily practice to protect my peace, setting clear boundaries. 2026 will be epic. Yes. Man, if Ashley was in here right now, she'd be getting a woman boner from that comment.
That's amazing.
You said, yeah.
Good job, James.
I'm going to tell Ashley you agreed with me. No, I'm kidding. And then, how's this how I got you, Martha? Look at that. Boom.
Thank you.
All right. Martha, thank you so much for taking your time, pouring into the people out here. Man, you have different platforms going crazy. You're on 3 different platforms, 20 plus people at all times. Impressed. Way to bring it. You were saying things I never heard you say, and I listen to you all at the same time. All right. So thank you. Again, let everybody know, Unbound, August, what?
21st through 23rd in Raleigh, North Carolina.
My favorite date in the middle there, 22nd. All right. If I have anything to say about that's what I'll talk. No, I'm kidding. I'll talk whenever you let me. Even sometimes when you don't, you yell at me for talking in the room like last time. And if you don't know Martha, you should. If you ever need her, she is a message away. She pours love. She cares. She'll be there. So there's few people that I'm willing to vouch and connect. And Martha's already known I've done it with her, multiple people. she says and does the same. So there's an alignment, and she actually cares about people. If you don't know Martha, you should. Martha, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. I love you, fam.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate anytime. Like, wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. For everybody out there, you know, deal, peace, love, and happiness. Long live the Unleashed. And today, we're both outie. Tell them something you don't know about me, us, kind of thing. However that goes. Peace, y'all.